Marvel Zombies is finally out after delay and delay. I've been excited for the show ever since day one of announcement. A lot of people have dropped off and a lot of that excitement built up again from the trailer, but no, I've been excited since day one. Did it live up to my expectations? Let's talk about it. And for starters, this show is focusing a lot on the Phase 4 and Phase 5 characters. In the actual Sacred Timeline, not on the Branch Timeline or anything, these characters have not interacted, the Young Avengers have not formed, we have not seen half these characters on screen together. Well, this show actually delivers on that promise and makes these characters team up. We get to see Shang-Chi, Yelena, Red Guardian, Ms. Marvel all interact together. That's kind of what's been missing in the MCU a lot. We're getting Avengers next year, so a lot of that is going to be resolved. We just got Thunderbolts recently. We got to see a lot of these characters interact, but one of the main problems of the MCU right now is that we have not gotten a team-up movie in a while. This time, in this show, we actually saw these characters team up together, and that was just fun to watch overall. It makes you want to see it in Avengers. Ms. Marvel is the main character of the show, and Iman Vellani is literally Ms. Marvel in real life. She's as perfect as a casting as Tom Holland is, Robert Downey Jr. is, all those legacy actors of the MCU. Iman Vellani is that in the multiverse saga. So it's just nice to see her as the main character, especially since we haven't seen her for a full 2 years since the Marvels. So it's nice to finally see her back as a main character, and hopefully in Avengers. Now this show is TVMA, for the gore, for the blood. When watching a zombie apocalypse show, you want to see blood. You want to see gore galore on screen. And this show gives you that every time there is an action scene happening. Every time these characters are fighting zombies, especially more specifically in episode 3 and 4, there's a lot of standout kills in there thanks to the gore. If this thing was PG-13, none of that would have had the same impact because you're centering all of it. But because they were able to play into a gore, a lot of these kills were a lot more memorable. And this show feels like a zombie apocalypse show, but Marvel version. You get all these Marvel characters with superpowers, with certain Marvel aspects in there to make it part of that Marvel connectivity. But then you also throw in this fun horror zombie element in there. And all of a sudden, you added this twist, you added this thing that stands out about this specific project that makes you want to watch it. We saw it in What If, and that's why this show was created, because everyone loved that idea. It was a risk, but it worked. The comics did it, and they somehow made it work. What If did it, it worked, they made this show. So just seeing all that zombie stuff happen with the gore, these characters, it all comes together to make this show. And the ending I absolutely loved. I can't spoil much about it. I can't even talk about it without spoiling it, so I'm not going to. But let's just say the ending is definitely something to watch because it's a huge standout of this show. But real quick, if you want to help me reach my goal of 1K by the end of the year, consider subscribing. Let's continue. And I feel like the overall pacing of the show wasn't good. This show was supposed to be a movie, but then they had to change it because they wanted Spider-Man in the show, and Disney can only have Spider-Man if it's a show, so they had to make it into a show from a movie. But a lot of the pacing is extremely slow. Every episode just felt like a stopping point, and you didn't really have to continue on, while also it only felt right to binge the entire thing in one sitting, because if splitting it up into episodes didn't feel ideal. But the pacing can be slow here and there. Some episodes, especially episode 2, I feel like were a lot slower than a lot of the standout, like episode 4 and a lot of episode 3. Episode 2 just felt like this gateway into the story, but it's still being very slow. But a lot of the show did work, it's just a few pacing issues here and there. But also another thing, the TVMA rating. I mentioned the blood, but when the blood does happen, it's a huge standout. But other than the blood, there's nothing in here that screams TVMA. All the blood is in episode 4, episode 3, and hints in the other episodes. But you could have very easily made this a TV-14. Now, like I said, a lot of the kills won't have that much meaning without the blood, so I appreciate the TVMA rating, but add a few F-bombs here and there, make the blood a lot more over the top, a lot more relevant in the actual show, make a lot more of it happen, because the entire show just felt PG-13, except a few moments here and there. I feel like you could have definitely pushed into that R rating a lot more. Make everything a lot more horror feel, a lot more bloody, and a lot of F-bombs. I want to hear Miss Marvel dropping some F-bombs. Blade didn't drop any, kind of out-kelked her a bit, I don't know, but I feel like they definitely could have pushed into that TVMA rating a lot more than they actually did. And I'm sure a lot of you guys probably don't even care about this next problem, but I do. Timeline issues. This takes place 5 years after that What If episode, but that What If episode was because of Ant-Man and the Wasp. That means this takes place in 2023, right when Avengers Endgame is taking place. And just a lot of the characters in this show, they have certain powers, like Miss Marvel, she has her bangle. She would not have gotten that until 2025 in the MCU timeline. But by this point in time, the Young Avengers are formed, Miss Marvel is here. And it seemed like she was living a peaceful life, being a superhero, before Ant-Man and the Wasp happened, which is when the zombie apocalypse happened. Because that apocalypse happened in 2018, that means Miss Marvel would have become a superhero in like 2017, so then the Young Avengers can form the year after. But since Infinity War is happening there, none of that lines up. Now, is this a huge problem? No, because I did appreciate a lot of these characters being in this show, but it is a huge problem when this show takes place in the same continuity as the What If episode of Zombies. None of it just really works, but hey, I get to see these characters on screen. I'm not really fully complaining about it. Just an issue that really stands out and really bugs me. And I feel like this show could have done more. It's only 4 episodes, and I feel like they could have made it 8 or 10 and actually do a lot more zombie stuff. Because I feel like it's structured as a movie where they have to do this, and look, it's over. I feel like they could have done a lot more. Which, if they do make a season 2, I would want them to do a lot more. Push a lot of the zombie stuff, push a lot more boundaries. You could have done a lot more with this show. But anyways, Marvel Zombies I've been waiting for ever since day 1. And for the most part, it did live up to my expectations. The blood is great, characters are great, zombie moments are great, villains and characters are great. I loved a lot of stuff. But there is pacing issues, there is continuity issues. But overall, this is not a bad show. And it's actually a great 4-episode watch. But anyways, if you like this video, maybe these ones on the side ones you too. Like, subscribe. See you guys next time. Goodbye.